All right. So, like the intro went, I am Brittany. I work in content and PR at Mention, and this shifts gears a little bit from what we talked about before, but I think it complements it really well. You use your voice to build this brand for yourself. It reaches all over the world. Now, how do you find the kind of little ways to amplify it and grow it? And I think that as much as we're all probably sick about talking about influencer marketing, it is a really great way to do that. And yeah, so I work at Mention, and competitive analysis and influencer marketing are two of the big things that we were focusing on last year. And I obviously had to play with them a lot in order to write content and market them. And between me needing to learn and play with those features, between me needing to learn and play with those features, loving the relationship building aspect of my stuff here, and loving sleuthing, competitive analysis, I was always looking for new ways to kind of use this stuff. This isn't really a main use case or anything like that, but it's something that I've found if you are using influencer marketing and competitive analysis, if you have any dedicated tool for that, this is a nice little extra way to use it. And so my main tip is to find and pay really close attention to the influencers talking about your competitors instead of your own brand. Not just any influencer, what I like to call the casual influencers. They don't have a really close relationship with a certain brand. They're kind of just a casual fan, keeping it cash, less than collaborators, but more than strangers. So there's anyone with a large audience that might be talking about, but is not super loyal to or a big fan of your competitor. So there's not really a huge investment from either side. There's not a really close relationship between them yet. So they've kind of just sent all these little criteria, signals, things to you that say, hey, this could be a really, really, really great partnership idea, and the timing works out well, stuff like that. So the casual influencers you can pick them out a few different ways. For example, they might be sharing content from your competitor here and there, but it's pretty obvious that they're not a dedicated reader or a big fan or a contributor to their content or anything like that. Basically, it looks like they'll read it when they put out content or something like that. Another indicator of a more casual influencer is that they're probably not a customer of your competitor yet. Or if they are, the exceptions might be that they might be a new customer that hasn't been totally won over yet. They're still kind of testing things out and making up their mind, looking at other people in the space as well. Or they might be an existing customer who's clearly not super happy. And so they might be interested in learning more about others in the space in that scenario as well. So the important kind of criteria to look at is that they're definitely not doing quote unquote influencer marketing together. This is not someone that is working with your competitor on a campaign. This is not someone that's creating dedicated content or something like that. And so it's a really great indicator that you can go in and build a relationship with them yourself, because they're open to talking with a lot of different people, and they've shown all the different signs. So it shows that they're in tune with your area of the industry. Take us, for example, we're a social media marketing tool, but I would not expect anyone in the social media marketing space to know about us. But if someone is specifically talking about other media monitoring tools, that definitely shows that they're a better target for someone that might be interested in us, that I might want to introduce myself to. And they also haven't indicated a huge amount of interest in your competitor yet, just a casual following. And however, they haven't indicated, so they're following them, but they haven't indicated a huge amount of interest. So maybe they're trying the product, but they're not sold on it yet. They're not totally loyal to the brand. They're just kind of general interest of the industry. But the fact that they're talking about your competitors shows that it's just a really targeted and relevant fit. So in terms of how to find them, it's really easy. It's really quick. It's not, to be honest, it's not anything groundbreaking. It's using whatever tool that you're already using to pay attention to your own brand, to find influencers for anything else. You can just do that, and you're just using the data in a different way. So the first thing, obviously, is just to find all the different influencers talking about your competitors. And from there, you're going to want to narrow it down to the casual people. And so a few different ways that I personally look at that is number one, looking at how often they talk about a specific brand or competitor. So I'm looking for a low number of mentions, maybe just mentioning them once or twice, or talking about them infrequently, obviously indicates that it's not a close relationship and that they're not super invested. And another thing that I might do is just in looking through the overall conversations happening about my competitor, I might look specifically for negative ones from people with larger audiences. That obviously indicates that they don't love my competitor. Maybe they'll love us. Maybe there's a gap that we can fill. I can, maybe I can help. I'm just looking for a place to help. I'm looking for friends and relationships, not going about this super spammily. Definitely not. And then from there, you do that. You put together a list of people who know about your competitor, but they don't seem super loyal. They seem open to learning about new brands in the industry, such as yourself. And so from there, it's time to reach out. Again, I am not going to pretend I'm reinventing the wheel and saying this is what influencer outreach is and this is how you do it. But there are a few tips for this specific scenario that I wanted to throw out. So first of all, just be upfront about how and why you found them and are contacting them. So don't pretend that you don't know that they talk about or are using the competitor or something. Number one, because it might not work. And number two, because you can prove that you've done your research. That can be a good thing and you can use that to your advantage. So one thing that I like to do is kind of invite a comparison, say something like, I saw that you were trying out this. I would love to see if you wanted to try this out and get your notes on the difference and stuff like that. If they did mention specific problems, any gaps, mention any gaps that we might be able to fill, stuff like that. Show that I really try to show that I did my research and I'm just trying to help. If it's someone that created content, I might suggest doing an honest, comparison or a review of two different things, and try to throw some suggestions out there. So I'm not saying, hey, I want you to look at me, but do all the work yourself. Stuff like that. And yeah, just basic, this is basic relationship building, just getting information from a different source, using it a little bit differently. But I think that it can be a really easy and effective way to grow your brand by finding really relevant people. I know that in the influencer marketing space in general, a lot of brands tend to try to go for really big audiences. But really relevance is where it's at, and finding people talking about your competitors can get you there.